Well, hello and welcome to the GMIHub online. Tonight is going to be an incredible conversation and we're hoping to tackle this head on, but have a good time doing it. We are talking about marketing, and in marketing, band versus brand. We're going to talk about how important it is for the band to be the brand. And we're going to talk more about other things as well. We have DeShaun Jones and Diane Foy coming up. And we want to remind you, we are on our YouTube channel, the GMIHub online. And we want you to take the time to think about considering subscribing if you haven't already. Please, we need to get their numbers up. This year is an important year. It's our first year kind of getting into the next year. So we need you to kind of help us through the next couple of months. And let's see if we can make 100 at least. If we can do 100, that'd be so good. I don't want to beg, but I will. Okay, so then we have also our website, the GMIHub.ca. Please go check it out. If you go and send us a little email, and we'll have your email then. This is something I'm really excited about. It's called Hub Happenings. We send out a Hub Happenings, kind of like a flyer, but it's email to you about all the things that are happening in the GMI Hub. We also have an opportunity there for you as an artist. If you have an event coming up, if you have something that you're publishing and you want us to put it onto our Hub Happenings, if you give us your email, we'll make you a part of that group and we'll talk about your event or your publication, and we'll make it part of that Hub Happening. That's exciting for you as an opportunity to get some people to connect with what you're doing. Also, we want to remind you that we are on all social media. We got the Twitter, we've got Instagram, we've got Facebook, we've got and recently I'm just starting to do on TikTok as well. There's so many things that we can communicate through, so we want you to take advantage of that. On the YouTube channel itself, there's so many videos from so many different places in the music industry, from production all the way to artists themselves and everything in between. So if you want to check out some of our great content, please do so and tell your friends about it. Share the experience, take the time to let people know who you know of the stuff that they can look into, the resources they can tap into, so help them in their music ministry. Maybe you have a friend of yours who's in music ministry and they need some kind of help and some guidance, or maybe there's some amazing videos there that you could utilize as well. Anyway, let me just start off by saying my name is Dale Borland.
And I'm Cheryl Bluduick. I almost started talking without my mic on. I'm so glad that you are here. And I'm so excited to have the guests that we have today talking about band versus brand. We have Diane Foy. Diane Foy is a PR and marketing coach who helps unstoppable musicians and actors attract fans, media, and industry so that they can book gigs and make money with their talent. She has worked with some fantastic artists who you may know, like, Sass Jordan, just a few unknowns, Sass Jordan, Perry Farrell, Big Sugar, DOA, the Parlotones, Mackenzie Phillips, Alana Masterson. I can go on. Mm-hmm. She's worked with some reputable artists. And but one of the things that I love about Diane is that even though she's worked with artists that have made it big, they're celebrities, she still has a heart to work with people who are aspiring, who still want to build their career in music and want to know how to market themselves better. So Diane, I thank you so much for spending the time to be here.
Mm-hmm. Thanks so much for having me. Great.
And we also have DeShaun Jones. Now, DeShaun is a man full of info. I know I had one conversation with him. By the time he was done, I had my book almost partially full with information about marketing, about anything to help empower people with anything about being an entrepreneur, an artist entrepreneur. He's been involved in the music and creative business for how long now, DeShaun?
Over 20 years.
About 20 years. Wow. And I know in past you used to work in radio. You worked with the Junos. You've been working with a particular event out in your way as well.
Yeah.
And you've just been watching how artists, like the artist industry, and you have just a passion for building the industry as an industry. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's more empowering or developing the artists, and especially in the gospel industry, and helping the community, make the transition or grow into an industry as much as we can by educating and empowering the actual artists to, especially nowadays, is changing their mindset from just being an artist, but an artist entrepreneur, and that way they understand what the big labels do. that it's the same procedure, but just on a lower scope.
Very cool. Now, let's maybe start off with a vague question so that we can get on the same page with those who are watching right now. We're talking about branding. What exactly does that mean? You say branding.
Is that coming to me or to Diane, whichever one?
That's going to both of you.
Okay,
Jump in.
ladies first.
I was waiting for that.
Nice.
Well, I think there's also a difference between a brand, a business brand, and a personal brand. And I think as artists, it's more the personal brand because you are the brand, like who you are and everything that you represent, your values, your beliefs, your interests, all this stuff is your brand. It's your personal brand. And more, even bigger businesses are finding ways of making it personal. So basically your brand it's more what other people say about you. Your brand is like, you can control kind of the messages that you put out there. But you want that to be, you want to put your authentic self out so that they get who you are and what your brand is. So that's where I come from it when we talk branding.
Definitely. Yeah, totally agree. Branding overall, when it comes to dealing with artists, is knowing who you are as an artist and what your unique points are about you, what makes you stand out, and then sharing that backstory. I always say that once you do that, then everything else that you bring out from that personality or your personal brand will be a derivative, and people will support, whether it's music or art or a book. But people want to gravitate to the story, and which is the narrative overall of what you are and what your music's going to be all about.
That is huge. I think right there is a key thing for you listening right here, watching right now. The story, developing a story is vital because people want to be able to resonate with your story, and that will get you the followers or the fan base or whatever you need to start your journey and move forward.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely want to connect. That's the thing, is really knowing what makes you, what's making your product, lack of a better term, relevant to that audience, and that way they can connect. And once they connect with you, just like an artist on stage, once you've connected with that audience, they're going to run to that merch table. There's something about your story that made them want to pay more attention to you. And when that song came on, they're going to pay attention more. They're going to listen to the lyrics and see how that can make that connection to where they are in their life, either in the past or present.
So good to think of. If you're an artist out there right now, you can think, what story can I tell about me? And that's a good starting point to evaluate your own story and make that part of your journey forward.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wanted to make a differentiation between brand and I've heard the term brand identity. Are they the same thing, or are they different?
Well, I didn't get Diane's answer about what branding was. So
okay, so brand and brand identity. Brand is kind of, I guess brand identity is like all those assets that come together to be your brand. So brand identity is your physical image, your brand colors, those kind of things, but it's also what we talked about. It's your story,
right?
It's your interests, it's your personality,
the exposure that you get, competitiveness, keeping it unique. Again, that's all your identity. That separates you from all the other brands that's being pushed out there, because we get overwhelmed. And even Dale knows that from radios. You get overwhelmed with people sending you all this music, but what's going to separate you from all the rest of the clutter, to be able to create that one-to-one. So definitely, I agree with Diana.
Yeah, we spent about a few years on radio, and receiving demo tapes was part of that.
Yeah.
And from time to time, you get a diamond in the rough. You think, oh my gosh, this person should be played on the radio. But again, if they have a nice, strong bio, maybe this is something that'll help you as an artist too. That you have a good quality recording, and it's original and it's fresh. Chances are someone's going to get on board. So the question is, can you pull that off? And so branding. Sorry, Diane, I want to find out if we talk about the word branding, what do you think of? Because I'm one of your definition of branding.
Branding is what other people think of you and say about you.
Okay, it's your
That's
perception.
where yeah, it's other people's perceptions. And that could be a bad thing back in the day when major labels would kind of put an image or a brand on an artist.
Yeah, well, I
And
know a
then-
band. I know a band that actually their album cover. None of the guys on the album cover were actually in the band. They just wanted some good-looking guys, and they
That's
were not.
awesome.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm all about authentic branding. It's who you really are.
That's right.
You know, but there's been those stories of major labels taking this, you know, 16-year-old girl, putting a certain image on her, putting her story and making her do all these songs that are not really her. And then they say it later on, they go, yeah, then their second album is who they really are.
Right.
You know?
That's a kind of a corporate mindset behind the push. I get that. But
Yeah,
if an
that's the money.
Yeah, but I'm talking about as an artist who's in this situation right now, they're thinking, how do I move forward? So what was some of the things that people could begin to do? How do they start creating his or her or the band? What did they do as an artist to put that first foot forward? What can they do?
They need to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think they need to really embrace their story and really explore their life, because you also, when it comes to a bio, you don't want to have the so-and-so played music since she was 6 and then did this and then did that. And it's just like the facts. What is it about you that is unique? Like, what experience did you have that led you? I coach a lot about finding your why. Why do you want this? Why are you chasing this dream? Why is this important to you? And sharing that through your brand, everything that you put out there about yourself, that's what connects with people. So if you had embrace your struggles, embrace the things that you've gone through. And when you share that, that's what people are going to be, oh, I totally relate. Like, I've experienced something similar too, or I haven't experienced it, but wow, I got a deeper insight into who this person is. And maybe that is what you understand the music a bit more too.
I know we had an artist on a few weeks back, and to your point, like, her branding, I guess, would be based on her story, and she had apparently quite a rough life and kind of an abusive life, but she puts it all in her music, and her authenticity does come out in her music as well as in her videos, and I guess anytime she plays live as well. And as a result, even when she came on this program, a lot of people gravitated and wanted to see her again and again, which I thought was really interesting. So I guess that has a very strong brand. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where you get the super fans.
For sure. Yeah. She recognized who her audience, what is, by sharing her story. She's going to make that connection. And then from there, everything pretty much will fall into place of knowing what avenues you need to go to make the connection to that audience. It's things like that.
So what are some other characteristics of a good brand?
I mean, I would say you're looking at, you can dive into color, like you can use color as a brand. You're looking at your logo. You're looking that's part of your identity. Making sure that everything across all your platforms are in unison. Color is a huge thing that can definitely bring in emotion in that. Characteristics of it is simplicity. Again, stripping it down, being honest, and knowing who your audience is to be able to say, this is where I'm going to place them. I know where they shop. I know what they look at. I know what they like to read. I know what they like to drive. You're going to know exactly once you know what your story is, and you're going to know where they are. You're going to find out where they are and then present that to them so then they can, with the call to action, drive them back to your website, drive them to your YouTube, drive them to your social media. And then from there, you've got to build that relationship with them. That engagement process is important when it comes to dealing with developing your brand or developing it to a good characteristics of a brand. And just being bold about it and being confident and consistent about it is important as well.
Yeah, so like a good brand is consistent because it is truly who you are. And when someone goes to your website, the first impression should be they should have a clear view of who you are.
Yeah.
Who you are as an artist, and it should whether it's your photos or whether it's what you're wearing, your logo, what you say, how all is part of your brand, and it just has to be clear and consistent on all the platforms. And then how he was saying with figuring out who your audience is, it's figuring out first you got to figure out who you are, then you got to figure out who's most likely to appreciate all that you have to offer.
Right.
So on that note, let me just say, everybody, if you're watching right now, go check out our website, GMIHub.ca, and see the consistency and see what happens and check out what we're going on. Plus, there's an opportunity for you to give us a little email, and we'll give you a monthly newsletter called Hub Happenings, and that's coming out, and it's something we just want you to take advantage of as well. And please take the time to look at the videos that are on our GMI Hub online and subscribe. Take some time to subscribe if you haven't already. Do the like and the notification bell, all those things, so you'll know next time we upload a video. That would be really cool. Cheryl, also we want to talk about, what else do you want to talk about? Are we going to go into?
Hey, share the experience.
Yeah, I was thinking about the other thing, but that's
well,
okay.
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking of the Christmas compilation, aren't
yes,
you?
Yes, I am. I'm thinking about that.
Yes, thinking of the Christmas compilation. So briefly, for those of you who may have been aware from last year, we launched a Christmas compilation album online, and well, most of you, I guess, learned about it, and some of you actually purchased it, which was really awesome. I'm so happy that you did that. And you know what? That was such an awesome experience for us. It was quite the learning curve for all of us. And you know what? We're going to do it again.
Yes, one more time.
This time we're going to make it hopefully bigger and better. But it only gets bigger and better if you put your music into it. Yeah. So if you're a songwriter, or you know a songwriter and you're a singer or a musician, get together, write some songs, send it our way. By the way, it needs to be Christmas themed because we're launching it in Christmas time.
It's Christmas time. So we have a deadline, which is June 13th is our deadline. So you have plenty of time right now to write that song, get it produced, and send it in.
So there you got it. For more information, gmihub.ca/Christmas project. You'll get all the details. Now back to our
regular scheduled program.
Regular scheduled programming.
Yeah, exactly.
Back to our regular programming. Okay, so go ahead, Diane.
Sorry, I said I have a good point, a lesson learned from what you just said. Mm-hmm. Planning ahead. A lot of artists make that mistake of thinking of releasing a Christmas single, and they think about it in October, November.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
That's exactly.
And we learned from last year's
process. I get those
process.
calls.
Yeah, we learned from last year's process. We got to push our dates back a little bit more. We ended up being a lot bit more, and only because it gives you some wiggle room, because there's so much to do.
Yeah, for sure. You got to give a release at least 4 to 6 weeks to try to get it because there's so many different avenues that you got to give your other partners, media partners, time to collect the information, because they're getting a whole bunch, thousands more than you. And then you need time for it to get into the pipeline, to get into the funnel, getting into the Spotify playlists, get into the editor reviews, getting it to media. They all have their time frames and timelines that you got to give everybody the time to be able to do that, because we all have lives too.
But there's also Christmas in July. We got to get that first.
For sure.
So I wanted to, DeShaun, you said this. You talked about, you started going towards color as part of the brand, and Diane, you mentioned logo. So can we dive a little bit into that? Because I'm curious. If I were a person, we have our brand back here, but let's just say for fun, I'm an artist and I want to create a brand, but I don't know what colors to use. I don't know what my logo should look like. What's a good starting point? Like, I know you said go to the story. Okay, well, my story is I sing. I've sung in churches. I'm known to be very dramatic when I sing. So what would you suggest for someone like myself if I came to you? I'm a dramatic singer. I'm known to be a musical communicator. but I don't know what my brand should be. I don't know what colors I should use. Like where would I start?
Well, overall, the texture of your music. I mean, you look at your music. I mean, you look at something like, let's say, to keep it into the Christian music realm, let's say Striper.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of people who know that band, it's classic.
Yes.
You wouldn't have where they're going to have squiggly, nice calligraphy type fonts for their logo. You're going to have bold, sharp, very bold colors like red or bright yellow, Ferrari yellow. You're not going to have, light purple or pink. You're going to have very sharp type of images, because that's when someone who likes hard rock, whether they're faith-based Christian or not, they're going to see the logo, and that, again, it's the cover. The cover is going to basically attract them sometimes before they'll even listen to you. So you look at the different character traits of your music style, then you're going to look at whoever you're working with your creative marketing designer, and they're going to come up with different ideas and drafts based on what music they hear from you. If it's jazz or if it's something like, they're going to find a font texture or font style that will best fit. And then they can get into colors if that is important for them. Sometimes the logo is just best left white and just transferable. And even the overall design of it has to work overall, because if I'm listening to a band, let's say like Striper, who's a hard rock or rock, if I see their font and it has like squigglies and it's in pink, that's a little contradictory. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. So it depends on who you work with, and you just kind of, the person who's handling your graphics, unless the artist is very, talented in that vein, then, sitting down and saying, okay, what audience would this appeal to? And they just got to look back, even to think what music attracted them. So if they liked the band, Striper, if they liked a band like Kirk Franklin, they just look at what they've done and say, okay, I'm similar. I'm pretty much relatable to him as an artist. I can see how they created his logo, or, if it's hip hop or if it's hard rock, if it's country, just, you can look at it, and usually you'll see, how you should fall into the same vein as it.
Yeah, I often coach artists on part of that personal branding, and even with your image, with what you're going to wear and things like that, because you're branding yourself. For one, what are your favorite colors? But also maybe do some research and pick artists that are maybe similar to you, collect images that appeal to you, whether it's logos or colors or things. And then you start to see like a trend usually. And also, so sometimes if you're picking what your favorite colors are, that's one thing, but then you can also go into the psychology of it. Just even Google colors and psychology. What do they mean? Yep. And it's like blue will say one thing about you, and pink will be something else. And how the way you were describing too, of like your bold and personality, like you want to pick colors. So for you, I would say I'd expect to see some red and bold colors, because that kind of captures your personality and in your music. And then people that get that will be drawn to you from that.
Okay.
Yeah, that color wheel is awesome. It's there. You can actually find it. It'll actually show you. Well, some of them do. They'll show you other brands that use, like Coca-Cola red. Then you'll get Pepsi blue. Then you'll have what red is and what brands use red, like Target and what it represents. Yeah. Purple, for Yahoo, like things like that. So it's oranges, yellows. Those are good foundational colors to say, oh, okay, yeah, that fits me. It's bold. Or just, in editing, just maybe bring it back a notch or keep it at the same level. So it really depends. Again, it's the extension of who you are as your artist personality and your artist brand. You just got to find out. And sometimes it is your favorite color. Like mine's purple because of Prince. So.
Well, actually, Cheryl's logo is better to the colors than mine. But her screen has a better representation of the color combo. But it's interesting you'd say that certain colors have certain psychological attributes to them, and that's some people may think that way. Well, maybe I want to do it that way. But I think the easiest thing that I think you both touched on is looking at other artists and see what their logo's like. Now, for most of the time, they're using the person's name, so there's not necessarily a logo there, and that's where it switches from appearance of a brand to the story of the person. One thing that stood out in my mind is Jeremy Camp. Jeremy Camp first came on the market. Great singer, great player. I loved his stuff. But when his story came out with his wife having cancer and passing away, people had empathy for him.
Right.
And they were joining him as a person, not the
Exactly.
music. So again, that's why I'm getting back to that type of branding, because yeah, the logo is one thing, but as a solo artist, you don't necessarily have a brand logo. You have your name.
Yeah.
So you have to tie that
Sometimes.
story into the name, and that allows people to connect to you on a different level.
Yeah, definitely. There's relevance. That's the key. Once you engage your audience with that, and like I said, everything else is a byproduct. Once they engage with your story, you can bring out a book, a T-shirt, a hat, a car, canned pickles, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're already gravitated to your story. It's relatable. They know it. As you said, empathy. They have experience with it, or they directly or indirectly, and it resonates with them. And then from there, if they can't buy it, they're going to talk about it. They're going to support it. They're going to tag you. They're going to do stuff. They're going to like it. There'll be some form of activity based on your call to action.
So identity and branding can be transferable.
Definitely. Well, they're hand in hand. They work
together.
They're hand in hand.
Especially as artists.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
you are the brand.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's for sure.
You're the product. You're the one that you're producing the product. So you got to wear two hats. You got your creative side and you got your commercial side.
This kind of brings a great segue into another question I have. People are branding themselves, but sometimes they seem to have a different brand for their music. Seemingly, maybe I'm reading it wrong though. Should artists have two different brands, one from themselves and one for their music or for their product? Or is it just one brand that's just weaved into everything that they are doing?
I have a hard no on that.
Okay.
I'm about, you are your brand, all your and I also, it's different advice through the years too, because the main advice back in the day was to have things very separate. And I think I used to even do that too. Like I had a website and complete brand for my publicity company, but then I was also a photographer. So that would be a whole other website and brand. And no one ever knew I did either one, right? And then I was a makeup artist and everything's so separate. And I felt like I'm living different lives and
split personalities.
Complicated. And maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I kind of was like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm giving it all up. DianeFoy.com. This is who I am. And I think at that time, I wasn't sure which direction I was going to go. So I was like, wherever I this is who I am. This is what I do.
There's there's almost a fear though, eh? You think, am I spreading myself too thin? Am I gonna do too much? I mean,
there's diversification. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. But can that be a bad thing? Like for me, I have so many hats that I wear that I could do movies, I could do acting, I could do singing, I could do music, I could do video. I could say, okay, what do I lock down on, or do I have to? And but
they're all kind of related.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Like
you can start off with one and then branch off from there. You could start off with music and all of a sudden you branch out. Okay, perfect example. There's an artist out there, she's mainstream, Queen Latifah, I'll just use that example. She started off in hip hop, right? But then through that she got into television.
Acting. Yeah.
She got into acting. She got into talk show host, radio show host. Mm-hmm. She developed a management company, a film company, all from her Flavor Unit brand.
Now she really is the queen.
Right. So she's not even making any money. Not as a main income from her music. She's making predominantly her music from her majority of her revenue from movies and producing, but she still has the Flavor Unit brand. So it's just evolved, just like how she's evolved because they're all in one. The brand's evolved because she's evolved. So it's not a bad thing because again, it's a byproduct. Again, it's your story. Okay. What does it? It's like branches on a tree, right?
Yeah, like you said, find what your starting point. Like for instance, the GMIHub, our starting point is about the artist. That's who we are here for. We want to help them to have a unity with other artists, the community of other artists, mentorship with other artists, and talent growth. And all those things is our focus, and it's just about them. So that's why we're on right now. We are on here today because of the artists that are out there who are listening, and those who have opportunities to use their music and just want to do a better job. So we're bringing people like DeShaun and Diane in here to chat with you and give you some of their experiences. So as a segue, I just wanted to take some time to say, if you're watching maybe for the first time, or maybe you know somebody who's a musician, let them know about this, share the experience, take the link from this and put it on your social media. Go into our chat right now and just say hi. I would love to communicate with you because I monitor it all the time. I go in, I talk back and forth to people. So if you have something you want to drop, if you have a suggestion for a topic, please, this is the place for, because we will find out the people that can help. If we don't have the answers directly, we will find the person that will get that topic to the best of its ability. So please leave a comment. And don't forget, if you are on there, to like the video. Thank you. And subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell. And also, just want to take you over to gmihub.ca. That is our website. You can find out more information about us there. You can actually be part of our team. Just send us an email, and we'll get your email, and we'll send you a flyer once a week, kind of like an electronic, it's called the GMI Hub happening, and you will have a chance to see what's going on in our lives. And I just want to connect with you as an artist. So just make that part of your regular routine. Check up with us, and we'll check in with you. Pretty cool.
Nice.
So here's a question. Back to our regular programming.
Yes, back to regular programming.
Here we go.
But I love saying that. Sounds so fun. Anyway, so what are some common mistakes artists make with their branding?
Not being consistent.
Not being consistent. Okay.
Sometimes that's accidental. They don't realize they're being inconsistent. But yeah.
Not being consistent, not doing their research on knowing who their audience is. Once you know who your audience is, you will automatically need to know where to find them, where to engage them. And then from there, it's all about creativity, on being creative on how you engage them. But being consistent, and content is key, but your content should be creative, because we get overwhelmed with so much content. It's like, what can cut through the clutter and give you that opportunity to get them to drive them to your website, so you can create that one-to-one experience and turn them into a fan.
DeShaun, how do you do that with so much media, especially nowadays? People are fighting for, especially online presence for, Diane, you have any idea about what can somebody do to maybe set themselves apart?
You're being real to who you are, and taking your story and showcasing it in a very creative way. Example, if you're going to perform, okay, they have virtual performances are going through the roof now, which is great. Okay, so instead of staying in your room and putting a camera up and playing in front of your closet, and I can see your laundry you haven't done yet, how about you go maybe go down to your local convenience store and ask the owner if you can set up something in front of his door and sing there, or go to the gas station, or go to the fire hall, or go to the library. Obviously
make some content. Yeah.
Pre-COVID, it depends on the song and what you want to portray. It's like, if you're a hip hop artist, go find a train track somewhere. You can find a whole bunch of lots of texture. Make it creative. Use your backdrop and try to make it creative, and learn how to make your presentation that type of creativity and quality, so then your message will resonate. And plus, once you have your audience, you're building that, and then from there you have your general ways of getting it out there through social media. But create a story, create content to spread it out. Don't just do one thing and expect somebody's going to learn something and be able to get to know who you are. A consumer needs to at least get a message 9 to 13 times before they even react. So it's about multiple impressions, and you got to be consistent.
That's very true.
And spread it out.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's very true.
Make a story. Develop a story.
Well, that's mainly what I coach on, is because I was a publicist for a long time, and artists would come to me. I have this recording. Okay, I need to hire a publicist, but they don't have all the things that I need in order to be successful. And I think artists are so eager to get their stuff out that they don't want to press pause to do some homework and do the work. And so a lot of them will still go hire some publicist, spend $3,000-$5,000 and then wonder why they don't get much.
That's right.
And or they try and do everything themselves, but they don't, again, take time to learn. So it's throwing spaghetti at the wall and doing this. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, let's do this. Oh, then do that. And then you're back where you started from very quickly because you haven't done the work. So the reason I went into coaching is so that now I can help you. Let's press pause. Let's really figure out your personal brand, which is all about who you are. Then we can go on to a social media strategy. Let's build your audience. Find who is going to appreciate what you have to offer. Have that into a strategy. Then we can start doing some publicity. And that's where my freebie is called How to Attract Fans, Media, and Industry, because no matter what you want to make a living at this, you want to be a working musician, you need to have the fans, media, and industry. And the media is not going to be interested, and same with the industry, is not going to be interested until you have the fans. And sometimes you need that personal branding, which is telling your story, to connect with those fans so that they're loyal to you.
I think you hit on a really good thing. That it's a later question, but it's talking about the business plan. The strategies on how to set up a business plan. A lot of artists don't have that mindset. They're in the zone with the writing, the creative side of things, and so getting help in that area might be a thing. But is there some basics or some hooks that they can understand to help them
create a business plan?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, in any type of business, you got to create some type of plan. In anything you do, you got to create some form of a strategy and plan, or else you're just going blind. I mean, you can have a dream and a thought, but without, and put a plan together, but then you got to execute it. And knowing about your human resources and financial resources, which will develop your plan as well. And that's all. Once you have your story, once you know who your audience is, it helps you with your planning. So then okay, my goal is to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to break it up. I know I got to hit radio. Okay, well, what radio stations will play my music? I know I got to hit media. Okay, well, what editors write about artists like me? So then you got to do your research, find it, source it. And if you can't do it yourself, go get somebody that can do it. And then that helps put together your overall strategy and plan. But you got to do the preliminary foundation first of knowing who your audience is, where they are. And that's all derivative of having a true, honest understanding of who you are as an artist and what type of music you want to do and what message you want to bring out. And even
that's
then,
number one.
Yeah,
that's the first thing. That's good.
Knowing the message you want to bring out, and then how to convey that, and where they are to be able to listen to it. Like if it's getting on a podcast, you're talking about maybe something that is a side thing in your life, where you might be into cooking. Okay. So if you're into cooking, then maybe look at getting into a podcast and talking about cooking, but you're going to tie it into your music. You've got to look at different avenues and then putting all that on a sheet of paper and knowing, okay, here's my social media, here's my publicity, here's my street promotion, here's where I'm going to try to do my performances. Instead of touring, it's virtual touring. You got to look at those type of avenues, and that's all creating that marketing mix. It's all in one. It's not just social media only. You got to do all of it in a one to try to push everything together. There goes my lights again.
When I first start coaching an artist, before we even get to the personal branding, we start with your future vision. What do you really want? And then also some goal setting. Once you kind of figure out what you really want and make that known and pick what you can accomplish in the year, then it's goal setting to okay, where you want to go. Let's figure out how we're going to get there and what is the timeline. And, if you got to be here in 1 year, where do you got to be in 6 months? Okay, then let's break that down even to what you need to do this week.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to check off those little things.
Yes, yeah. So you have like a box you can tick off. And so that's to me, it sounds like there's a certain recipe there. Is there anything that Diane uses as a recipe, if there is such a word?
Well, my recipe is, I'm very clear about my process. It's convincing artists that they need it. that, on my website, there is a freebie, How to Attract Fans, Media, and Industry, and it's a roadmap. And it takes you through, okay, your vision, your goal setting, the different parts of personal branding. Then we can get to social media and promotion and marketing. So I guess it's a recipe, but it's also just a roadmap.
I like the idea of roadmap better because you're helping direct people to the places, the plateaus, or the things they need to do. Where a recipe is kind of like, if you have these elements, you've got success, which is not the case.
All over the place. No, but roadmap is like, okay, I know you want to get there, but you got to do these steps first. Let's do it in order. And then you'll be successful in the end, instead of jumping to the end and wondering why nothing's really happening or not getting the results that you want. So
trust the process.
Yeah.
Trust the process. There's a process.
Yeah.
And people have to understand, artists need to understand that the process is exactly the same on a major label level. But like I said before, they have more human resources and they have more financial resources. But other than that, they're doing exactly the same thing you're going to be doing. Just being consistent about it. That's all.
Okay. So
obtainable goals.
What's that?
Obtainable goals.
Yeah, set goals that you can actually obtain.
Yeah, obtainable goals so you don't get discouraged, because a lot of artists, they put too much and they get discouraged and then they drop it off.
And that's a good advice for an artist who's probably working really, really hard and they can't get anywhere, and they get so tired of the fight that they give up. They
get discouraged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing, okay, so we got a roadmap. So one mistake, going back to my question about the mistakes, so I guess one big mistake is people jumping to, okay, I did this, now let's get it out there, and not knowing what to do. So they need to slow down. That's what I'm hearing. They need to slow down and really identify what their message is, what their story is, who they want to share that message and story to, where those people are, where they are, I guess, listening to music, if it's in the case of music, and kind of, I want to say, marrying the two, make sure one meets the other. That's what I'm hearing. Am I correct so far?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
And audience engagement. They got to big mistake is not being consistent with their audience engagement. You got to continue to try to build that and follow up and just create creative content, interesting content. What we in International Women's Day. Okay, well, tie something into that. It may be relevant to you, or even if it's not, it might just be a shout out, to your mom or whatever, to your aunt or to your sister, your cousin, or a coworker or whatever. But do something that you're always going to be somehow in front of people for some reason. If you don't have your own content to share at that time, don't share it. Don't share anything just for a picture or just a picture of yourself. Make it relevant to what's going on. So then when you do hashtag it, and that's another thing, tagging it properly, then you're going to get some hits. You'll possibly get some hits based on whatever you use as relevant hashtags, based on the current events, if you want to call it.
And that's a great technique, just to not to, you're not kind of jumping on, but you're trying to make that opportunity to say, I can say to my fan base, or to those who I want to have me join my musical fan base, that I'm a person, so I'm connected with the current events, and that's a great idea.
Staying relevant.
Mm-hmm. Being relevant, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great way of marketing one's brand. Diane, what do you share with people once they do have all the pieces of the puzzle together? How is what effective ways can they market their brand?
Well, I think also doing that foundation work makes the content creation easier when you get there.
Yep.
And you're not left going, now what am I going to post today? But really collecting your stories, collecting your interests and everything about you. And I help artists set up a system so that it's not so overwhelming, so that you do know, maybe you could schedule your posts every day. I want to get you so that you're posting at least once a day on your feed, if we're talking Instagram, and then multiple times a day on your stories and going live. It very quickly becomes overwhelming. So that's why you just start with, okay, just pick, you're going to post 4 times this week, and then work your way up. and add new things to your promotion strategy. And if you have a system set up so that at least the stress of posting is lessened, then you can spend your time each day with the engagement, then finding who your ideal fans are and interacting with them. And I'll teach you strategies to find them and what to say and all that stuff. But it's all about engagement. An engaged following is going to be way more valuable than thousands of likes and thousands of followers.
In hearing that, there are some artists out there right now who are going, that's overwhelming. A day? I have to do this every day? I have like kids, I have job, I have life.
Yep.
How am I
Yep.
supposed to pull this off? It's really, it can be really like huge on their
They got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, even if it's once a week, make it consistently once a week, but something unique and creative and that really just grabs attention, and put a call to action at the end so you can track it.
Absolutely. You know what? And that's a really important thing. If you're listening right now, listen to what's going on here. This is a tool you can put in your tool belt. If you are able to post every day something about you to your fan base, do that. If you're not able to, do what you're able to do. Make it on a consistent basis. Help, like with GMIHub, we're on every Monday. We do this every week. It's consistent, and we try to keep social media going as well. But this is our staple. We do this every week. Now, if you're able to pull something up every day and to connect with your fan base, that's amazing. Please take this to heart. This is something you can really consider. Also, that we have our YouTube channel, GMIHub Online, and we want to just invite you to continue to look at all the different videos that are there. Subscribe and like them all. Like all those videos. Like them all. And hit the notification bell so you'll know the next time we put a video up. That'd be so cool. Also, just let you know about the GMIHub.ca. It's our website. We want you to check it out. Go on there, and there's a portion down there that it's a kind of an email thing, and if you connect with us through your email, we'll be able to send you a hub happening, which is kind of like a flyer, goes out every month, and it gives you a kind of an overview of what's going on with the GMI Hub. And if you're an artist who has a project or an event or a song you're releasing, let us know about it, because we want to make that part of our hub happenings. Yeah, we want to help you. That's what we're here for. We want to help you in the ministry God has given you. And so we can help promote it and talk a bit about it in our hub happening. So if that's exciting for you, that'd be great to take advantage of that. And I don't want to miss this. This is really important. This year, we have taken on this opportunity to do a Christmas project album. And with this, we did one last year, and it was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun learning the experience of, from the artist's point of view, writing a song, producing a song, recording a song, and publishing it. All this kind of stuff was a really cool ride. But this year, we're going to do it again, but we're going to try to do it better with your help. We want your song to be submitted by June 13th. If you have a Christmas song, an original Christmas song, and you would like the GMI Hub to put it onto the compilation CD for this year, June 13th is the deadline. We want to get your song on our album.
I'm starting to sing Sleigh Bells Ring.
No. Summertime. We bring the sunshine, people.
Oh, no, it's all about the Christmas.
No. I'm ready for some sunshine.
Yo, Mr. Jones, we're talking like a white sandy beach, man. Not like snow.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, that's
cool.
my kind of Christmas.
I'll work with that. That's cool.
Yeah.
For real.
So I had a question. My question was this: we're talking about, the social media, reaching, connecting with your audience. Is there ever too much connecting? Is there ever a level where
you overdo it? Yeah.
Yeah. Can you overdo
Good question.
it?
Yeah.
You
I don't
overdo
think so.
it. I don't. Yeah.
Can you be in somebody's face so much they get, okay, not a him again?
I think as long as you're sharing value,
Yeah.
you can overdo it if all you're doing is
Garbage.
go play my song, go play my song, go play my song, go play my song, go. Okay, unfollow. But part of the strategy I want to set artists up with is to have a bunch of different topics so that you're not posting the same thing all the time.
Exactly.
That you are, and then when you're engaging with other people's on their platforms, it's genuine, not the not, copy pasting all your comments either. It's checking out and having a genuine comment or compliment to them to really engage.
I've heard some artists, and I applaud them. I loved hearing about this, that some artists would actually go onto another artist's, I don't know, web page or something, and just like what you said, Diane, they would encourage them, like, hey, that was such a great song, or love your comment about blah blah blah, or you know what I mean, like they just do it. And sometimes it comes across like they don't even think about it. They just like, hey, I was checking this out, and hey, I came across this, and this was kind of cool. I'm so glad you did it. Kudos to you, man, or whatever,
Yeah.
And I can imagine how that must make a person feel. Like, I mean, I guess I say that because I go, if I were receiving that as an artist, I'd be like, hey, you just made me feel good. I like this,
I like this person.
Yeah. I'm going to follow you now, because I like what you did. But I go, I guess, the reason I ask if it's ever too much is because I'm hearing, post at least once a day. And actually, I haven't personally directly heard it, but I've heard that there are people that post 10 times a day on I think Instagram or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they think of it as, oh, I just didn't do enough, or I only do 10. Yes, I do that between, cooking the meals and taking care of all the kids and blah, 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 blah. And I'm going, how do they do that? What exactly are you posting? So,
well,
it's the content.
A few different ways to look at that, because also with the algorithm, the posting too much, the people following you are not seeing every single post that you do, and they're not sitting there for 8 hours waiting for you to post. That's why people post so often. And also, there's only a small percentage of the people on Instagram that are getting all the engagement because they're that consistent and that posting that often. And so the more often you post, then the more likely your people are going to see it. And also the more likely Instagram or the platform's going to show more. And the more people that are engaging with your content, again, the more Instagram's going to show it to more people.
Yep. The bottom line, it's the content. If you're going to post that much, you got to create a story or create some type of campaign, and then start from one thing, but make them everything else is slide or click over here. But you always got to have something to continue to keep them engaged, and you draw them in until you get to that call to action. But
Call to action.
You got to have that. And it's nothing wrong with posting 10 times a day if you have that story. Plus, if you've developed your social media kit. I mean, in that, you got to have your content so you can diversify it and spread it out over 3 months or 1 month. You want to do a 1 month campaign and you want to post one thing every single day. That's okay. Well, you're almost going to have 15 to 20 different items, maybe. So you got to think like that. So then you're not posting the same thing, or it's always going to be fresh and new, or it's part of your overall story leading down the path to whether it's driving to YouTube, driving to your Spotify, driving to your website, whatever your end result is, that's where you've got to lead those people. Then it's like the Pied Piper type of thing.
So we talked about that. That could be a potential mistake, but if there's anything else you can think of that might be a common mistake that people could avoid if they're thinking about what to do in this case. In regards to the mistakes for branding? Well, and it's for connecting with their audience base to help build their fan base, to like their aggression to get the people to join on. What's things they can avoid that might be perceived as a mistake? I would say, well, yeah, not being, you got to be honest, you got to be relevant. Not being honest and relevant. People can look through that right away as following trends. Yeah, I would just. There's a fine line, I guess, between being current and following trends, isn't there? Well, it's being current, yes, but more or less like I would say jumping on topics. So, like again, International Women's Day, or especially there's Easter or something. There's something going on in society that you can talk about in a unique way, or there's a certain thing that's happening that you can make it relevant to you, or tying in, like I said, a special interest. You might like novels. Okay, so you're going to share a quote from your favorite book, or you might be into cooking, or you might have a green thumb,
or you're into finances. It's looking at how do you expand on who you are as a brand and inviting another audience other than just your music audience. You might have literary audiences. You never know. So that's where I would say a mistake might be for an artist is not looking at the bigger picture of who they are as a person and as an artist, and incorporating that in their marketing activity.
Yeah, like how you were saying before of having separate brands for everything. And it's like, you have to that's why we look at your other interests outside of music. And what are you passionate about? Let's make that part of your brand.
Yeah.
If you look at mine, I include cats and wine. Cats and wine is part of my brand. I'm okay with that.
Whiny cats? Did you say whiny cats?
Whiny cats.
Cats and wine.
Okay.
I think there was one thing too. I don't know, and Diana, you probably know this too. I found that I was reading some articles, and they're saying that the biggest mistake is artists sometimes don't value or want to understand social media verification. About looking into all those things and getting that little blue check mark in there. From what I've heard, it does help with the algorithms as well. So it's something to definitely look at, whether Spotify for artists or whatever is get yourself verified to make it more the authenticity. This is the official one. This is the one, and people can trust that information coming from that is directly from that artist and not a fan page.
Yeah. Or something. I think in a lot of platforms that's important. I will say with a caveat, for Instagram, people also ask Instagram, do I want a business account or a personal account? And everyone's even Instagram, they're gonna like really push that you have to have a business account. You have to have a business account. You can't use this service unless you have a business account. But as soon as you click business, the algorithm doesn't show your stuff as much because Facebook bought Instagram. And remember what happened with there. It's like Facebook and everyone's like, you have to have a page, you have to have a page. And then when everyone got a page, then it's pretty much pay to play over there now. That unless you're paying for advertising or your page is just crazy with activity, you're not getting seen on your page. And so it's only a matter of time before Instagram does that. So like I'm staying with a personal account, and for as long as there are certain cases where you will need, like influencers, they kind of need the stats, they need the insights to work with brands. So maybe at some point where you have built up your following that you are going to partner with a brand, then you might need to have the business because you need to prove to that brand
exactly
how much your audience is engaging with you.
Very
so it
important.
Depends on where you're at.
Yeah. It helps you with your value of helping with your value in the marketplace.
Yeah.
Because you need to be able to sell yourself, whether it's booking, helps you probably in getting media placement, and definitely toward any type of sponsorship support. They want to know, okay, show me your verified audience. You're a network. You are your own network. So if you have a podcast, it's like radio. If you have a YouTube channel, it's like TV. So, just like those are companies that sell advertising to be able to give you the entertainment or the product that you want, whether it's TV or movies or sports. Same thing as an artist, and even at a small independent level, you still need to show your value in the marketplace. So then you can say, hey, I got 10,000 people who have followed me, not just watched and viewed, but have actually clicked and followed and said, yeah, I want information from you on a regular basis. Yeah, that's the value right there.
Absolutely, and that's something that the GMIHub has actually been challenged with as well, trying to portray our value to our audience base, to our listener base, to our viewers, because they are important, and that's why we do what we do. We're not making any money doing this, guys. We're not. Seriously. So this is something we're doing out of love, doing it for the artist.
Yeah, and that's going to resonate because there's going to be people who are going to support that, and they should, because especially in the gospel industry, we need more media outlets. We need opportunities to showcase. If the artists don't have the vehicles or the avenues, the internet obviously is totally just crushed down those walls. But before it really took over and became, I would say, maybe even 50-50 in regards to audio and video. Artists now need to learn how to do that even more, because it's a massive element. It's not, and it's attainable now. It's not like how, oh my gosh, it's $5,000 or $10,000 to create a music video. Those days are done.
Yeah, no, it's true.
You can create a content video for cheaper now.
Yeah. Now I want to hit you with the big question. Cheryl, are you cool?
One question before the big question.
Cool, let's do that.
At what point in time, I know we've been talking about kind of promoting organically, which I love, but at what point in time, or should there be any point in time, when a person who wants to promote their brand goes into paying for advertising and things like that? Should they even think about that? And if they do, at what point in time should they think about that?
I think like after you've built up, like how I take artists through that roadmap, personal branding, social media, publicity, then I think is a good time. Once you've built up that audience, then if you hire a publicist or start doing advertising, then you'll get more results from that because you've done the legwork and the groundwork. So I think that would be the next part of the roadmap, is personal branding, social media, publicity. And at that point, I want to get it so that brands, industry, everyone's coming to them. That's where you want to be, is so that you have so much value that you've built up.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And you're looking at overall is really understanding that part of the branding journey, if you want to call it, right? And taking advantage of that.
Also, too many artists, they are such in a hurry that they do jump to paying for ads and publicists and radio promoters and all this before you're ready. That's a lot of money, unless you have an unlimited budget. Like,
that
I
makes
wouldn't
sense.
recommend
Well,
it.
there's tracking purpose. There's tracking involved in that whole thing. And this is where getting the instruction and direction from someone like Diane and or myself is knowing if you got a campaign that's in 3 months. I like to work. I'm sure you do the same as like 3-month increments. So that way you have time to track. Okay, first month's worth of activity. You're going into your second month. Let's track it. So then we know. Okay, this is where we're seeing the analytics, and you're seeing those things you're watching those things, and then that helps you with knowing the next moves to make in regards to that, and not making any of those mistakes, but watching how your activity is happening.
Yeah.
So it's important to have that information.
Okay, good. Okay, now Dale, fire
Oh,
away.
yes. Okay.
The big question.
I love to do a wrap-up question, because this is it's not on our list, but it's something that I think I want to catch you kind of off the cuff, but something that you really would like it. Okay, let's just back up. Can you give me 3 points of advice to give to an artist to help them to plan their brand? Is there 3 things? Maybe you've talked about it before. We've maybe said it before, but we want, as a remembrance, as a wrap up, 3 points that you would say, look, hey, if I could give you 3 core things about your marketing, your planning your brand, it would be this, that, and this. Diane first, please.
I think when you said the big question, I have a podcast, and at the end of my podcast, I always ask, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? And so I think that is if not the most, one of the most important parts of this whole thing. What do you want? Figuring out what you want, figuring out the goal setting to get there, but then really taking the time to figure out why. Because obstacles going to come your way, and you're going to get knocked down, and it's too easy to quit. But if you're very clear on your why, and even when I'm coaching artists through this, okay, the superficial answer might be, oh, because I love music. Why? And I just keep asking you why until you get to the core reason. And a lot of times that might be something that happened in childhood, or why do you want to make a difference? Like part of why you do music, I'm guessing, especially gospel music, there's a purpose. You want to connect with people. You want to make a difference in the world. And so getting clear on why that's important to you will make everything else just come a lot easier.
Pretty much.
Okay, that's one. I need two more.
I could do two more, but you
I'm
see,
just kidding.
my one is long. So
It is.
Yeah.
But you know,
It's the narrative.
Yeah, whenever you said why, I was thinking of the thing that Cheryl and I talk about, the who, what, why, when, where, when it comes into bringing your music forward, who you are, what you're doing, why you're doing it, when are you going to produce it, when are you going to release it, and what's your target audience. So those things are incredible things to think about before you start this journey. Absolutely.
Yeah. Work is plan your work and work your plan.
Amen.
Plain and simple. I mean, once you understand your narrative and you know everything else from there is just going to fall in, you're going to know who your audience is because you know what type of message you want to get across because it is an extension of your personality, and you're going to find people who are like-minded and have gone through like-minded type of or likable or like-minded type of experiences. That's the key. And once that happens, then everything else, those questions will almost come naturally. Oh, okay. Well, if they like cars enthusiasts and my music is rock. Okay, I'm gonna go after that. I'm gonna go. I know where they are. That's if that's one thing. Then if I do country, I'm gonna well, I know country music. I know that culture because that's a culture. That's a lifestyle. It's like a lifestyle brand. Music is a lifestyle brand. Right. It defines any target audience that you're going after. It depends on what you're doing.
Well, that also goes into the answer of why, right, Diane? Why you're doing it. So you get your demographic, you get everything.
Exactly.
In that question too.
But plan your work. That's for sure, and then work it after that.
Okay, so I've heard two answers. Know your why, work your plan, and plan your work. No, wait, is that right?
Yeah.
Plan your work and work your plan.
Plan your work.
Yeah, plan your work and work your plan. Be consistent. Consistent in creativity. Content is king, but be creative and be consistent with that. That's all.
Okay.
Consistency would be probably up there.
Yeah. Okay.
Be consistent, man.
Consistency.
Very cool.
And even if it's like once a week, but it's once a week, you're being consistent for a month. That's 4 different placements that you have to think about. Okay, what am I going to say at the end of on my 4th post? What am I doing? Or am I making something happen on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and you're bringing them down to that closure? And that's the connection you want, and that's important.
Building that trust with your audience.
Yeah, consumer engagement.
Yes.
All right. That's great. I think there's more than 3 points there, but I got the elephant in the room. Okay, DeShaun, is that a man trike behind you? Is that a man trike? What the heck?
Yeah.
It's like
there's a basket.
There's a granny basket on it. It's like, do you drive around the neighborhood? Ding, ding, ding.
I wish that was mine, but it belongs to the office.
One of those.
I think it's cool. So
it's like a big chopper, like it's a manual chopper though.
I'm so tempted to jump on that and
go for it.
That'll be your parting image.
I know.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
I've been looking at it going, wait a minute, that's a tricycle. It's a big man tricycle. What?
It's a great conversation starter when you have people when you have the video meetings and video calls.
Funny stuff.
Well, guys, this has been really awesome. I mean, I think I've learned quite a bit listening to all of you.
Yeah, me too.
You've learned too. Okay, that's good.
That's good. It's always good to refresh the mind,
No, it's been absolutely awesome just learning from you. Diane and DeShaun, thank you so much for imparting your insights and your knowledge in this area, and in some ways breaking it down for us, like breaking it down so that we know that, if we're wanting to be like Roadrunner and basically we got our music, okay, let's go, and you're going, slow down, slow down, know your whys, know who you are, know where your audience is at, and where are they going to find music so you can put your music there, knowing that you can grow your audience organically. Notice we didn't talk about paid ads until the very, very, very end. Right?
Do it to the last.
Moved it to the last.
Don't bother till later.
Get all those organic hits first before you pull out the money.
That's right. So you can grow your audience organically. And but again, we go back to the very beginning when we talked about your brand. And your brand, if I can summarize, is just based on your story. It's based on who you are. It's based on your story. It's based on your message, the message you want to get out to people. And don't lose don't lose focus on that, because you're unique. You yourself are unique. And I think, as Diane and DeShaun kind of alluded to, and I know that they would help you with, is understanding your uniqueness, because it's your uniqueness that will develop your brand. Am I right, guys? Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Your uniqueness is what develops your brand. And when you recognize how you are unique, other people will gravitate to your uniqueness, and you will start building that fan base as you keep showing your uniqueness. Okay, that's my big word for today.
Uniqueness. Yeah.
I want to applaud.
Yep.
Thank you.
Very
thank you
good.
very much.
Unique.
You learned.
Listen,
Nice.
if you've enjoyed this conversation, I know Dale has said it several times, but I'm going to say it. If you've enjoyed this conversation, please like, share the experience. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe.
We only have 5 more to get to 100. So we need 5 people to subscribe tonight, right here, right now.
That's right. Can we do it? I sound like Bob the Builder. Can you do it? Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, that was his branding. So, but he's not a musician. But yeah, like, subscribe. Like we said before, go to our website, gmihub.ca. If you want to submit, if you're interested in submitting your song, a Christmas song for our compilation CD, you have till June the 13th, but you can go ahead and send a message to us saying, hey, I'm planning to send in a song, so we can look out for it for you. Again, we have a newsletter, and if you have a song that you're releasing, or you have some kind of activity that's happening, let us know about it. Because if you're on our mailing list, we'll let the community know about it. You know why? Because we like to encourage unity, community, mentorship, and talent growth. That's what we're all about.
Yes,
and we want to
right.
empower artists. We want to empower artists to be artist entrepreneurs. So thank you so much for joining us. Again, thank you, DeShaun. Thank you, Diane,
Thank you.
for being here.
Appreciate
And
it.
Dale, thank you for being such an awesome co-host.
Big deal.
Yeah, what?
And we will be back next Monday. I believe next Monday, Studio Talk.
Yeah, Studio Talk is next week. So you guys don't want to miss that. It's going to be an incredible conversation. Wow. It's kind of like Gas 2.0. That's what it's going to be. We had a gas that's gear acquisition syndrome. We did that like a while ago, but now we got something a bit more practical when it comes to gear acquisition syndrome. It's kind of like practical stuff. So really, you want to tune in.
That's right. That's right. So don't forget, next week, Monday, Dale, that's where you'll see Daryl on the scene.
That's right.
We'll be back. I know you all love him, and you like our banter when we go and elbow one another. So
Where is Dale? Where is he? I mean,
Daryl?
Where's Daryl?
Daryl is behind the scenes.
He's busy doing something else right now. But that's okay. Next week, his face will be on the screen. Him, Daryl, and Cheryl, the rhyming couple
Daryl
will be
and
there.
Cheryl,
Yeah. So it's Studio Talk. So don't miss that next week.
I'll be there.
But until then, you all have a great week, and we'll be back next